on a breakout, right? So this is a weekly chart. Start down at the daily chart. Daily chart, we hit the 70 RSI. So maybe if it pulls back a little bit and then retest this area here, we'll be all right. All right, so let's go down to the weekly chart. You can see the bigger picture. This is what's going on in a weekly chart. So you guys know I'm a big fan of the MACD, right? So look, you have a MACD crossover here. I'm just gonna highlight all the crossovers here. Here you have a touch and go. Here you have a crossover. Here you have a crossover. All right. So mind you, every single one of these candles is 1 week. So here, when you have the crossover, Bitcoin falls. And then when you have the crossover to the upside, Bitcoin runs, right? Then it consolidates a little bit and it runs, okay? All right, it crosses over here too. I forgot this one. Crosses over here too to the downside. Look what happens to Bitcoin, okay? And then it crosses back over to the upside. Look what happens to Bitcoin. Okay, so these are just happening in large waves. And now we're getting prepared for another crossover, right? So, so this crossover here, which was October, right? This was the crossover in October. And then we peaked out at 109 up here, right? We kind of had like a double top peak, and then we sold off, and now we're going to go test this area again, and then we get a crossover, and I think we're going to like 140. All right, so I want to show you how powerful these crossovers are. Okay, so let's go back to highlighting them. You have the crossover here to the downside. You have a crossover here. Call that one here. It's the touch. It's the crossover. Okay, and then here's the crossover. Okay, so when you're looking at a weekly chart, mind you, each one of these candlesticks a week, so this thing's gonna take a while to play out. So on the day-to-day, you don't need to be looking at charts. Bro, I used to look at charts every day when I used to trade, and now I just wake up and go chill, go water my grass, play with the kids, like go to the gym, watch more informational things on Bitcoin or on the monetary system, read books. Like, bro, I'm just letting this stuff rock out over a long period of time. All right. So I'm going to show you. Percentage change. So from the top of this candle to the bottom of that candle, Bitcoin pulled back 20%. From the top of this candle to the bottom of this candle, Bitcoin pulled that back about 20%. Okay. But from the bottom of this candle, say to the top of this run right here, this bar here, this candle here, this wick here, right? You go from a $25,000 Bitcoin to a $50,000 Bitcoin, okay? And then it pulls back, wicks down here, and then we have another run, right? This is the touch and go for the, you see this MACD, right? So we have from the bottom of this to the top of this here, another 92% run. All right, so you have back-to-back 92% runs. Get rid of these. All right. So, but mind you, this started here in the summer of 23. All right. And you guys know in the summer of 23, I was buying like a madman. All right. I'm buying as much as I possibly can. This game is going to take a long time for things to play out. Right. And most of the time, I'll be completely honest with you, most of the time, it's just boring. Right? You just stack. This is why you got to have hobbies. This is why you have to have friends. This is why you have to have a family to go kick it with. Right? Because most of the time, this shit is boring, bro. But you should be learning about what you're getting into. Okay? So we got the summer of 23. I think I was out in Europe just doing my little thing. Right? The summer of 23 until March, April of 24, right? So we got August of 23, September of 23. The breakout started after September, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of this run. And what happened? We go from 25,000 to 75,000, right? You triple your money. Right? So it's boring. You're loading. You're like, man, this dude Chris keeps saying that this is going to happen. It's kind of getting boring. It's going up and down. I see people hitting on day trades every day. That's another thing. You wake up, you get on social media, you see people hitting on day trades. They post when they win. They don't post when they lose. Again, they post when they win. They don't post when they lose. So you're like, man, should I be doing this Bitcoin thing, or should I be trading, or should I be taking my trades and putting them in Bitcoin? Like, what's going on? And you're getting rocked to sleep. And then the moment the breakout happens, you triple your whole portfolio. So imagine if you have like a $10,000 portfolio and, you know, you're trading, I don't know, $2,000 positions, make some money, lose some money, make some money, lose some money, make some money, lose some money, make some money, lose some money. And then at the end of the year, you end up with like 17 grand. And you're like, see, I start off at, you know, that's a 70% return, by the way, for the year, which is kind of not likely, but I'm giving you guys the benefit of the doubt. You're like, see, I'm having a good year. Or that 10,000 triples, right? Or that 10,000 triples in Bitcoin without you waking up and trading and going through the highs and the lows. You're just buying. You get your $10,000 loaded. And then in this run, right, your money triples. Okay. $25,000 per Bitcoin here at the bottom, 75 here at the top. Okay. But you take a note here, the RSI is just screaming, going crazy. He's hitting 89, 90, right? So you can anticipate the pullback, right? And what do you do on the pullback? Nothing, bro. You just keep buying, right? So this is why. So the charts are one thing, but your instincts, your intellect is a whole nother thing. Because if you avoid buying this because you think it's too high, right? So you're like, man, I ain't buying this. Why would you tell people to buy at the top? I get that a lot. Why would you tell people to buy at the top? Why would you tell people to buy at the top? So we'll call this the top, right? Why would you tell people to buy at the top? And mind you, this is when Bitcoin breaks its all-time highs. Remember, the all-time high from 2021 was 69,000. So we just break the all-time highs. Hey, Chris, why are you telling people to buy at this level? Well, I was telling people to buy 15,000. They weren't listening, right? The problem is that these old highs become new lows. J. Cole got a bar like that. He says, suddenly my old highs, or suddenly my new highs, or suddenly my old highs become my new lows, or something like that, right? And as you let time play out and you let time do what time does, yeah, that's exactly what happens, right? So imagine, I'm like, y'all, I'm still buying. Are you still buying at the top? Blah, blah. Yes, because one day you're going to look back and 75 is going to be a steal, or 75 is going to be the bottom, right? So this is a ceiling, right? It runs up and it stops, right? It becomes a ceiling. Then you fast forward from February, March of 2024, fast forward a year and you got April of 2025, and look how now it's the floor. You see this candle here? Now suddenly it's the floor. So if you were worried about buying here, but you plan on holding this thing for the long term, and you notice that it becomes the floor. Okay, so when Bitcoin, so let's say you buy a little 5K up here, 75,000. Okay, and then it pulls back, and you're like, man, I feel stupid for buying it 75,000. Okay, and then when we get a breakout up to 110, you made another 25% on that specific buy. You bought at the all-time high on that specific day, and you were worried about it. Then when Bitcoin goes to all-time highs, you get another 30%. All right? The old highs become the new lows, right? Okay, let's move this chart back a little bit. Let's go back 5 years. Okay, actually, let's go back even longer. Let's go back 10 years. Let's go back 10 years. At some point, right, and if you guys were paying attention to Bitcoin back here, you know what I'm talking about. But at some point, people thought that a $10,000 Bitcoin was too expensive. It was this point right here. Why am I buying at the top? Why would you buy at the top? Why would you buy at the top? And then it goes up to 20, right? Why would you buy at the top? Why are you telling people to buy at the top? Why is anybody buying at the top? And then it falls all the way down to 2,500. See, buying at the top is stupid, right? Okay. What would you do right now for a $10,000 Bitcoin? What would you do right now for a $20,000 Bitcoin? Right? Like, bro, just let shit play out. Let it play out. You're buying. You're not trying to time the bottoms and the lows. You're just consistently buying. Right? Now, my problem, my flaw back here is I was looking at Bitcoin like it was just another asset to have in my portfolio. Yeah, I got a little Bitcoin. Yeah, I bought a Bitcoin for $7,000. Yeah, I bought some Bitcoin $4,000. Then it goes up and I sell it. Right? Or I'm looking at it like, oh, it's another stock. Bitcoin's cool, but Apple's going to take over, or Apple's on top, or Netflix is keep growing. Bro, imagine all these buys here. Imagine this even when COVID hit. Right? Sold off in COVID. 2019 sell-off, the whole market was getting cooked. You're buying $2,500, and now we got a $95,000 Bitcoin. Do some quick maths. All right. Imagine you just bought here and you just minded your business. So you got $15,000 portfolio, right? You're buying into Bitcoin at 3K, right? Okay, you got 5 Bitcoin. 5 Bitcoin now. So your 15K grew to $476,000, right? That one buy. But imagine if you're buying all the time, right? So you think $3,000, if you put $300 in when it's $3,000, let's say you can't even afford a whole coin back then. Bitcoin's $3,000, but you're only putting $300 in. So you're buying 0.1 Bitcoin, right? With your $300, right? That's the math. Bitcoin's 3,000, but you only bought 300 worth. Okay. Oh, I did it backwards. Okay, so you're buying 0.1 Bitcoin. Let's say you're buying 0.1 Bitcoin a month. You're only putting your 300 in a month. Okay, now when you look back and you do this for 12 months, right? No, let's just say this is a one-time thing. So your $300, what is 0.1 Bitcoin worth now, right? 0.1 Bitcoin is worth 10% of $95,000. 10% of $95,000 is $9,500, right? $9,500. $9,500. So every little $300 buy that you made way back then is now worth $9,500. And you could say the same thing now. you putting $100 a week into Bitcoin doesn't seem like a big deal when it's 95,000. But when Bitcoin goes to $1 million, that means your $100 10x. So a 10x from $100 to $1,000. So 100 a week now becomes, when you look back at it in 5 years, when we're at $1 million Bitcoin, you're like, oh shit, I was only buying $100 a week. But now when I look back at it, that was actually me buying $1,000 a week. So I was putting away $4,000 a month, even though I only made $4,000 a month. How? Because you bought the future price, right? Everything that I put into Bitcoin, I'm expecting like a 20x. Right? When Bitcoin is $2 million, I'm like, damn, everything 20x from there. All right? Don't get rocked to sleep, y'all. Do not get rocked to sleep. This is a long game. And every time Bitcoin goes down, you have an opportunity to add to your stack. And every time it's like Bitcoin goes down, you're like, man, I can add to my stack. And Bitcoin goes up, and you're like, see, I told you. It's like a no loss game, in my opinion, because I want more Bitcoin. I don't want more dollars. I want more Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin falls from up here, to down here, I get to get more Bitcoin for cheaper. When Bitcoin falls from up here to down here, and now the Bitcoin's cheaper, and then it goes up, and you're like, oh yeah, cool. Then it goes down, you're like, hey, more Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm so smart. More Bitcoin for cheap. Yeah, I'm so smart. More Bitcoin for cheap. Yeah, I'm so smart. More Bitcoin for cheap. More Bitcoin for cheap. This is when I loaded the bases. Oh, not here. Oh yeah, it was here. It was all of this. This is 22. I bought 100 Bitcoin in this box. 100 in this box. And now we're up here. I've still been buying this whole time, but I deliberately went insane down here. About 100 down here. I bought all the way up. But my first 100 right there in this box, loaded bases, it's all posted on Twitter and Instagram. It's really here. To be honest. I was buying like a madman. Boom. It's your time to shine. But it's all good, because if you think for 1 second that this is crazy, right? From 15,000 to 95,000, right? You think, damn, that's good. Well, when Bitcoin gets to 800,000, it's going to be the same return, right? Matter of fact, it might be even. Hold on. It might be even lower than that. All right, so we got a 482% return. Now we're going to go from 95,500. Let's see, your 800K, 700% away. So we'll go 450K. $370. Like 550,000 ish. Yeah, about 550,000 ish. So the distance between here and here is the same distance between 95K and 550,000. You hear me? When do we get to 550,000? Look at the waves, bro. Look at the waves. This crossover, look how violent this crossover is. We go from, the lowest is 50, but we go from about 60,000 to 110. Right? This crossover probably takes us to 140, 150. And then we're going to probably pull back to 110, 120 maybe. Then we get another crossover and we're at 230. Right? We're probably 2 or 3 of these crossovers away. Right? 1, 2, or even touch and goes. 1, 2, 3. 3 of these took Bitcoin from 250 times 4, damn near. 25,000 times 4. Then we'll have some out here. And how long was this? October 23. October to October. It's 12 months. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 months. What's 18 months from now? What is 18 months from now? Right? What's 22 months from now? We have another halving in 3 years. I predict we have $1 million Bitcoin by 2031, the latest. But 500K, probably 22 months away. So if you thought this was crazy, right? It's all relative, y'all. That's what I need you guys to understand, that it's all relative. Because buying from here to here is cool, but somebody else somewhere in this universe, hey, and a lot of Bitcoiners are not going to be really like out in the open with what price they got in, what their average cost is, and I completely understand privacy, right? So I'm not going to knock them. So think about this. Your finances really aren't anyone's business, but I'll just be yapping so I can help people. But if I'm like, man, look at this. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. But imagine those people who are like this. Imagine those people that are like this. Imagine those people that are like this. The sooner you catch on, the less money you need and the more money you'll make. Imagine those people that are like, yeah, I got 3,000 Bitcoin down here. I got 1,000 Bitcoin down there. See, the higher it goes, the safer it's going to be. These people deserve all that money because they took the risk. I think Kathy Wood's buy was at $250. She's still holding. Max Kaiser's buy was at $5, $8. He's still holding. Made him a billionaire. Right? Can you hold something for 10 years? I'm willing to hold for 10 years plus. I'm not going back to the fiat system. I'm not going back to the fiat standard where they could keep diluting my money. Fuck no. Ain't happening. All right? So look, just 20 days ago, you could have bought Bitcoin for 75K. 20 days ago, now it's 95K. If you would have like, you know, if you had 75 grand sitting around or you sold off some of your assets, you just hit buy, you'd be up 20K already. 20 days. All right, y'all. So I personally think we going to 300 this run. So 95,000 now, 300K by the end of the year. Let's make it happen. When this MACD cross is over, this RSI gonna go tag 70, 80, 85. We'll be at 150. It'll cool off and then happen again. We'll be at 200, 300. That's what I think. 300, my cycle top. Keep buying every day. I'm out.